כן?
תעשה לי רושם
זה עניין של רפרנס פוינט.
אוקיי, אני רוצה לסיים. לקחת איזה משהו אולי בנוכל את השוק ההון החדש. פתחו מכון לחקר שוק ההון, אולי משהו שם. נשמר לי קצת
למה?
תקעו אותי, כאילו, השותף שלי עזב, כאילו תקעו אותי באיזשהו תפקיד שבכלל לא גויס. אבל זה ביקורת IT.
וואי, תחכו את זה גם אצלנו.
לעומר גם.
לא שמש? לא, יונתן, לא הכרת אותו גם.
We have a packed schedule for today. Okay, last class. So we begin either way. We are beginning with a short recap, but we can down. We fine. Okay, so today we have again a short recap. Then I have some stuff that I need to cover from last week. We're going to talk about behavioral change. As I mentioned, we have a packed schedule. We built a case study of one of my projects that I've been doing a few years ago. I hope that time allows and you will be able to review it, but let's okay. But at least we'll finish the material. So last week we talked about time, and we said that we know it's the most valuable resource that we have. It's the only one that is not renewable. Still, people consistently trade time for other resources, trade money, assets, grades, and stuff like that. The standard model says we have an exponential discounting curve. What does it mean? It means that we value the present more than the future, but at a constant rate. Let's say the behavioral model, okay, says that we have a hyperbolic discounting curve. It agrees that we do value the present more than the future, but not at a constant rate. Okay, the discount rate decreases as the delay increases. Okay, so here we are willing to discount the future a lot. Okay, we have here a big drop, but as time delay, as the delay increases, our discounting factor decreases. Okay, we said that this basically means that we are time inconsistent, and it's okay. Sometimes we have preferences that change over time. It's fine. We don't have to be finding product at I don't know age 15. But the problem begins when we delay or we have an optimal plan or an optimal outcome, and we delay it or not delay it. We consume earlier, okay, because we want an immediate and less desirable, less optimal reward. Okay, we said that we have different cells. We can call it current cell, future cell, the doer, the planner, system 1, system 2, okay? And the problem is that they are not aligned. Okay, so we can decide we want something in the morning, but then when night comes, we change our preferences. Now again, we can be flexible, we can be dynamic, it's okay. But when it happens time after time in a way that lowers our utility, well, it's not that good. Okay? And the behavioral result of that is present bias. Okay, the behavioral tendency to overvalue immediate rewards and discount the future and neglect future rewards. This was the more theoretical part. We said that there are also some more effects. Okay, I called it at least the shadow impacts of time. Okay, it's not something formal. It's a certain classification that I did. Okay, to position some biases in like the timeline that might affect our judgment decisions. We categorize them into 3 categories: the future, prediction errors, the past evaluation errors, and the present action errors. And we managed to go over this part. The first part, we will complete the past and the present, and then complete to the next topic. Okay, still I will review very quickly optimism bias and overconfident planning policy to again be 100% aligned, and then we'll continue. Okay, so optimism bias, the mistaken belief that the future is safer or better for us than others. We gave some examples. We overestimate the likelihood of positive events. Okay, I will get a promotion, everything will be okay. I will drive safely home even if I'm drinking or whatever. And the negative outcomes, of course, they are not related to me, they are related to other people. Divorce, financial illness, and stuff like that. Okay, some might think that divorce is a positive event. Okay, it depends, like everything in life. Remember, if I'm asking you about it in the exam, it depends. Always the best answer. Someone wanted to say something? Okay, best. Okay, so optimism bias. Then we talked about overconfidence. We differentiated between 3 types of overconfidence: okay, overestimation, overplacement, and overprecision. We said that we want to be confident. We are attracted by confidence. So what's the problem? Again, everything in life when it's too much. Okay, when we are too confident, overconfident, that is the big problem because it can lead to a lot of issues. We spotted 2 main ones: excessive risk-taking and what I believe is one of the most, I would say, dangerous biases, confirmation bias. Okay, the tendency to search, look, interpret the information that we want to find. Okay, completely neglecting other evidence, other opinions, go and lead to like the narrow tunnel vision, and getting stuck in our own beliefs and opinions, even though we are informed. Both overconfidence and optimism bias can lead to planning policy. Bless you. Okay, one again of the most fundamental policies of behavioral principles in behavioral economics, coined by Kahneman and Tversky as well. And we said that regardless of the definition, what it actually means, or like the most important factor of it, is the first factor. Okay, we underestimate time, costs, energy, effort, risk of the task that we are about to do. Okay, there's also the second aspect of it. This is mainly when we talked about planning. When we talk about planning policy, okay, we are unable to accurately predict how much time the task will take us, how much risk involved, how much it will cost us. Okay, this is planning policy. Questions so far? We're good? Okay, so this was a short recap, and we move on to the second category of time biases. And again, I want to make clear, when you walk out the door and you want to talk about, let's say, a certain bias, you don't need to say, yeah, of course, according to what we learned, there are 3 categories of time. Okay, so it's just like a certain classification for me. I hope it will help you as well, but theory doesn't necessarily connect it to time. Okay? So let me ask you this, give you this scenario. Let's say there's a big group. They finished ended their vacation. They call taxi dispatcher, and they say, okay, we need a large taxi. We have a large group. We have a lot of luggage. Send us, please, like your biggest van, and we want to go to the airport. As they are waiting, finally, The taxi arrives, and surprisingly, what they see, they made a mistake and they send them a very small taxi. They have no time, they have their flight, they must catch it. They say, okay, I don't know, we are in a hurry, let's leave some of the luggage, we will see what we'll do afterwards, at least we won't miss the flight. This is what they do, okay, they leave some suitcase behind at the hotel, they catch the taxi and they go to the airport. How would you rate the taxi departure performance? Very poor, right? Very much. This case actually happened, but it wasn't a family or a large group that traveled. It was ISIS terrorist cell in Belgium. Okay, they wanted order a big taxi because they wanted enough space for all of the explosive. They made a mistake. They sent them a small taxi, and they didn't have enough room for all the bombs. So they left the biggest bomb behind, okay, 10 years ago. And then they went to the airport, did their thing, killed some people, okay? But this honest mistake basically saved countless of lives. And then when they started to investigate what happened, they understood this happened with the taxi reservation. And the taxi dispatcher was called the hero and amazing, he saved lives, okay? But of course, realistically, he did an awful job, okay? Pure luck, which we need in life, okay? Yeah, maybe on their way, they're like, they get taxi. Okay, so out of bias, okay, by definition, it's when we judge the quality of the decision based on the final outcome, neglecting the available information that we had at the time, neglecting the process that led us to our final decision. Okay, real life applications instead of this, it can get realer than that.
Didn't plan my time correctly and I left home very late, but then there was something else that caused the delay in the meeting I was going to or something. It wasn't late eventually, but so I don't learn from the mistakes I made.
Good. Okay, so we can think about this example, we can think about investment. Okay, let's say someone, a certain manager or CEO gambled on a certain business initiative. It went well, but it was not too much evidence back. And then they say, oh, what amazing decision, even though it was pure luck. Okay, exams. Okay, let's say you don't study for the exam, and then you you manage to score a high grade. It doesn't mean that next time it will work similarly. And it works both ways. Okay, we can have a good outcome with a very bad process, and then we say, oh, well, it was a good outcome, so we are not learning for next time, and we assume that the process was good. It can happen also the other way around. We can have a bad outcome, but we did everything right. Okay, sometimes luck or whatever, we don't control everything, and then we might think that the process was bad, but it was a good one, and then we neglect it and maybe move to a worse process. Okay, so it's a double-edged sword, let's say. Another bias that relates to this section of past evaluation errors, hindsight bias, okay, the tendency to review past events as predictable, all these annoying sayings, okay?
Yeah, we learned it in social psychology.
So let's move on. Consequences of that, okay? Just give me the consequences. And besides of that, of course, being very annoying, it can have some significant consequences, which are not listening,
Thinking you're changing your opinion, but you didn't really have an opinion before. You're just changing it based on what they're saying to you.
right? Okay, So again, if you already, thank you for saying, okay, we'll move on. But basically, okay, overwriting reality, overwriting memory, we block our learning process because we are not admitting that we might get something wrong. And of course, it can also lead to overconfidence, which we already saw the negative consequences of that. Okay, so real life applications, financial crises, okay, back in 2008, the subprime bubble. Afterwards, even though not many people bet on it or invested or short it, okay, there were some people that did it and made a lot of money. But afterwards, yeah, of course, the system was broken. It was easy to see it. Okay, how we love to say in Israel, it was on the floor. Okay, but of course it wasn't. And of course, sports commentary. Okay, the player should have passed. Israel is the only country in which we have 8 million citizens. All of them are either prime ministers or football coaches. Okay. So they can be also prime ministers and football coaches or managers. Okay? So this was the second category. We're good so far? Questions? Something? Okay. The third and last category. Let's see this example. Okay? Let's say you are a president of a certain airline company, and you already invested $10 million, but you decided to invest $10 million in a certain development of an airplane. Okay, back we're talking about 1985. Yeah, now we have all these advanced planes. Okay, but back in the then, when they described this scenario, they said like invisible to the radar plane and all this kind of stuff that basically we have now. But anyway, the project was 90% done, and then you suddenly realize or you see that a certain competitor launched quite similar airplane, but more advanced than yours, better than yours, even more cost effective than yours. You completed 90%, meaning that you still have $1 million in your budget. But again, now there's a major competitor. What do? You complete the investment, or you take this $1 million and investment somewhere else?
Most people would invest the 1 million, but it's like the sunk cost policy, basically. That it's like look at it from where you are right now.
Great. So it is the sunk cost fallacy. People
It's like
do.
כנפציה.
Yeah. Okay.
אז דיבייט over the כנפציה.
The prime minister. Okay. Another scenario. Okay. You already got the idea, but the second scenario was quite similar. But now you didn't invest the entire amount, but you are left with $1 million of your research fund. Okay. As again the CEO, and a certain employee comes and tell you, hey, maybe we can use this money to develop a rather invisible plane. You think, oh, it's a great idea, but then you research a bit and you see the same result. The competitor already launched a better plane. Now, would you invest the money? No. Okay, so in this, this is only one example of sunk cost fallacy. In particular, 85% here said they will invest extra 1 million, and here it drops to 17%, even though the economic situation is identical. Now, like was mentioned, right? Sorry, then or said, okay. So the same economically, it's the same situation. Okay, regardless of the past. Now you are facing a decision. You have $1 million, and you have a competitor, a better competitor. Are you going to invest it or not? But because of this 9 million sunk cost, people are more likely to invest here rather than here. Okay?
But sometimes there are also situations where you face these kind of dilemmas and it's not so short. Let's say you wait for the bus.
Mhm.
You wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and you say, okay, fuck it, I will go and I will take a taxi. Or maybe you wait another 5 minutes and it comes. Maybe not.
You can never know. Okay, sometimes it's more clear cut. Okay, you know that these are unrecoverable resources of your time, of your effort, or energy, or money. Okay, but yeah, sometimes you can't know for sure.
For example, Tel Aviv,
Mhm.
she stopped his development. So after the Kyrgyzstan, like, 20, 30 years after cutting the development, we come to the conclusion that they should proceed with the development because, the situation now is different.
Mhm.
If you want to be independent in your development of strategies are changes over time. So
Definitely. The fact that we made a certain decision 1 year ago, 2 years ago, most likely, even more so when we're talking about 30 years ago, it doesn't mean that it holds still today. Okay, the fact that we are giving up a certain cost doesn't mean it was a better decision. We can look at hindsight and see, but sometimes it is clear cut. Sometimes we already know that we are stuck in a certain relationship, job, investment, because we are not willing to lose the already invested resources.
like students, after the first year, that they know that they choose the wrong thing, but they already paid 10,000 shekels, so they pay another 20, but they don't
Yeah.
want the degree.
Great example of some cost. Okay, exactly. Okay. Now, is it always irrational?
It depends.
Depends, right? Okay. Sometimes we can use it as a strategy. Okay, maybe we are in a competitive environment and we want to signal to our competitors that we want to keep a certain reputation. We don't quit. Okay, no matter what, I'm here. Maybe I will lose a certain. I will lose the domain of cloud. Okay, but I'm going to win in the data centers of AI or whatever. Okay, so sometimes it can be a solid strategy, but let's face it, most likely it's more of a fallacy, especially when we talk about like at the individual level. Okay, companies or big organizations, we might think that it is a certain strategy, but usually for us, the small people, the common people, okay, it's a fallacy. Okay, so real life applications, you already suggested some good ones. Of course, relationships. We have been together 5 years. They can break up now. Now, what will happen? Okay, I already invested this time, effort, emotional involvement, meeting the parents, moving in together, and stuff like that. Career, okay, in career or study, I can be or education. Okay, I can be in a certain position. I no longer like my job, but they know me. I have my reputation here. But now I'm going to start somewhere new and then build myself and my reputation all over again. Or again, studies like the example that was given here.
I have a question. What would you say is the main difference between sunk cost and status quo bias?
So it's a good question. Status quo bias, I think it's more about the current state relative to the future. Okay, I have something now that I want to keep like this. Okay, I might weight more the loss of a change than maybe the gain that I might, because it's more related to loss aversion. Okay, status quo bias and the endowment effect, for example, the disposition effect, some stuff that we talked about, they are like a supportive evidence for loss aversion. Okay, so it's more related to that. Sunk costs, already happened. There are some, concrete resources that were invested. Status quo bias, I might get something, in heritage. Okay, I don't know. I moved in a certain to a certain apartment. There is an internet provider. Okay, I said, okay, I will keep it like this, and there is no sunk cost. Now I have a certain situation. I'm talking, wasn't by me at least. Okay, wasn't paid by me. Exactly. Sunk cost, I'm the main player. Okay, I invested the money. In status quo, I can be also the main player, but not necessarily. Okay, so there it's more about for me at least, like the psychological effect, psychological loss of maybe moving, changing exactly. And here sunk cost, history.
Because of what we paid.
Exactly. I'm like the shackles of history. Okay, שלשלאות העבר might be more effective or impactful.
But status quo might be a strategy. It's like doing nothing when you don't know how to assess the.
Yeah, it can be a good strategy. Okay, you want to preserve your resources. You can deal with everything.
Like with the West Bank. Like with the West Bank. So, okay, this is the status quo. We don't do anything. Yeah, but it's more.
Yeah, still, it can lead to bad. No. If we're talking about sunk cost might be one of the reasons why we don't want to change stuff. Yeah, we say we already lost some lives in this conflict, and now we will change it. So basically, what are we saying? Okay, but referring to what you mentioned, okay, status quo, it can be a strategy. Okay, again, I'm trying to allocate my resources wisely, but the problem is that status quo sometimes even if we have low transition costs, when we have a better optimal choice or alternative, we still don't make this move because we are lazy, we are afraid, lost, or whatever. It can also happen in major life decisions. Okay, so it can be a strategy, but it can be a lousy strategy. Okay, not always. Okay, and again, remember that all these biases, the problem is that they are systematic. We'll do it time after time. It's not like a certain error. Okay, sometimes I am demonstrating status quo bias in a certain, or not bias, status quo in a certain decision because I understand I'm making a well-informed decision. Okay, and sometimes not. Here the problem is it happens repeatedly, time after time, in a way that leads you to suboptimal outcomes. But I agree that sometimes, I think we already, I didn't present it, but we talked about it. People always have at least two options, at least two alternatives. I have no options. No, you always have either to do something or not. Doing something, you might have 2, 3, 4, 10 alternatives, but you always have at least two. Doing nothing might be a good strategy, and it not necessarily mean that you are present, that your status quo bias. Okay. Okay. Reasons for sunk cost fallacy. Risk averse, maybe. Great. Okay.
Yeah,
Loss aversion. Okay. So referring to material that we cover. Great. Okay. Loss aversion. Okay.
Down, like you mentioned, like the endowment effect. I've invested effort, or maybe also the effort bias.
And
invested a lot of your.
Exactly, great. Mine, I don't want to lose it. I'm not selling a stock. I'm selling all the time that I research and all the emotional involvement that I put in this certain decision. Okay, I'm not ending a relationship. We have history, we have shared the moments and all this kind of stuff.
Going back to the example, a person of being like, let's say a person is in the 3rd year of law school, and if he does 1 more year, he gets the degree. He can say, right, okay, sunk cost fallacy, like I will, even though I want to quit, I will do the extra year and I will gain the degree from this.
Yeah.
Right? That's strategy, that's a positive.
Yeah,
But it-
Yeah,
also
but-
irrational decision.
it can be an irrational or a rational.
Yeah,
Irrational or
I think that
rational?
was rational.
yes, that's rational.
Yeah, okay, so first it can be both, okay, both irrational and rational, but yeah, it can be rational, but depend
Depends on the reasoning.
in the reasoning and what do you do afterward? Okay, let's say you don't want to practice law, but you say, okay, I already invested 3 years, I have 1 more year, and then with this degree or this knowledge, I can do a lot of other stuff, okay, and then you continue. If you graduate, you take this knowledge, do whatever you really want to do, okay, that's rational, that's strategy. But let's say you finish the 4th year, and then they have internships, right? And you don't, you know, you don't want to practice law. You don't want to be a lawyer. You don't want to, okay? And then you have what, 2 extra years?
But you don't have to do those internships.
So, how many people don't do it?
No,
Not
but
so
you still
many.
get the degree, no?
Yeah, but
Most of the people I studied with did the internship, even though like none of us are.
Why?
some cost.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
I think.
But it's
And like the also kind of I don't know what's the bias here of the, but it's the one like not wanting to close my doors for the future.
Mhm.
I don't know what's gonna be. Lawyer is a very secure job. I always did like pull the my license. Do it, you know,
Yeah.
like I think they need to.
Yeah, so still it
But
can
most
be,
these stuff,
It's like
I've
50%
been
more
in
the time
internship, but
that you already studied. It's like saying, okay, you invested 4 years, now you have 2 more years, so.
yeah,
But career is 40 years, so.
it's 100% because we said they already study 3 years, another year of studies, and 2 years of internship. Okay, so
No,
still,
You get only, if you're interested only about the degrees.
the degree, yeah,
33%.
yeah, but still, it can be rational. Not every decision or every bad decision is sunk cost or a bias. Okay, it can be an error or it can be a certain strategy. But like Michal said, yeah, it highly depends on your reason. Because if I say, look, I'm making a well-informed decision, I don't want to do it, but I know that with this knowledge afterwards, I will be able to go to a high-tech company or do other stuff, or I think it's a very, very solid and powerful knowledge to have as how do you say, like in Hebrew, it's either a lawyer, כאילו משפטן, כן, but in English,
Like a
משפטנation.
paralegal.
Yeah, exactly, paralegal, okay? So you can still do something with that. If it's informed and you have the reasoning, so it's not a bias, okay? But if one of the main reasons is, okay, I already invested 3 years, I know I'm not going to practice law, I don't want to do it, I can't read even one more text about it, and you still continue, some cost. Okay, because if you're not leaving or not quitting because of the history, the tales, okay, the effort and the resources that you invested, and you have no other better reason, some cost.
But then it's not always a bias. I feel like in those rational cases, if it's rational, then it's
No, it's not a bias. It's not a bias.
So
It's
the
a
bias
decision.
is only for the irrational, like negative case.
Bias, again, it's something that happens repeatedly. Okay, it's a systematic deviation.
Someone studying for a full year. No, every day coming to class. It's a bias that.
Yeah, but it's not like every day you wake up and do decision, okay, you make a decision, okay, now I'm going to
Yeah,
study.
let's say every day you wake up and you hate the school.
Mhm.
What happened? You convince yourself that you already did 3 years. No, still bad.
Yeah, no, so yeah. We talk about, like, when we talk about systematic deviation, okay, so it's supposed to happen not only in this certain domain. Let's say you are experiencing, it can happen only in one domain, yeah? But let's say you are demonstrating sunk cost in your law studies, but also in your relationship, and also with your internet provider, or okay, when it accumulates, it becomes a bias. When you don't have well-informed reasoning, it's a bias. Okay, it's not. It doesn't mean that status quo is always a bias or something bad. It doesn't mean that sunk cost is always something bad. Okay, it depends on the context. It depends on the reasoning. It depends on the situation. But it depends on the reasoning. Okay, but this is something that as practitioners, and I'm trying not to go there too much because you have the designated classes for that and also the practicum, but we need to try to identify whether we are we're trying to change a certain behavior because it's systematically broken or systematically leads us to, or leads the mass to the suboptimal optimal alternative outcome, or maybe a mistake, maybe they are well informed, maybe they have the reasoning. Okay, no intervention will work 100% of the time because people are different. Somebody will exhibit a certain behavior because of due to some cost, but someone else because it's a well-informed decision. Okay.
Information bias also help on cost policy.
Also, what?
When
It can because maybe they can connect a lot of biases, a lot of heuristics can connect to each other. Okay, and they can have they can work simultaneously, affect us simultaneously. Okay, so I might experience some cost, and then I realize that I'm staying at law school because not because this is what I want to do, but because the 3 years and money that I've already invested. This can lead me to look some amazing articles about the value of law education in the era of AI. Okay, and then it leads me to other viable. Okay, so it can work also the other way around. But the more you control this, the mechanism behind the behavior, the behavioral principles, the biases, then you are more able to juggling between them and understand human behavior according to the context.
Also, in public money, if you spend the public money, you don't want to admit that you were wrong. All the money spent for nothing. So you keep on with the project and
Yeah, you want to justify it.
buy
Okay. For those of you who like Homicide, the docu series on Netflix, okay, one of the main motives there, like we are not finding the real killer, but we are still pursuing a certain individual, okay, because we already have invested a lot of money, a lot of manpower, a lot of time, and what will happen now? If after 1 year, 2 years, we'll come to the community and say, hey, the real killer is outside. Okay, our reputation,
it's not good for the politician.
not good. Also for society. Okay, so when you, one of the things that I hope at least is now when you see this kind of behavior, doesn't mean that it doesn't matter if it's with your friends, yourself, family, job, TV, you will be able to connect it to behavioral biases and behavioral principles. Okay, so reasons. We don't want to admit that we made a mistake. We have ego. It's never comfortable to admit that we are wrong. Stopping feels like realizing the loss. As long as the bad investment is alive, I'm not losing. It's on paper. Okay? Emotional involvement, of course, when we talk about relationships, but not only relationships. Risk-taking in the domain of loss, okay? Usage, and of course, diminishing sensitivity, okay? If we connect it to our material. If I already invested 5 years in this relationship, let's give it another week, another month, maybe something will change. If I'm already studying law for 3 years, another semester, let's see. Okay.
It's not my money, so.
Yeah, even better.
Public money, so.
Even
You have a
better.
button.
Yeah, the parents' money. Okay, when we go, not like we are rich, yeah. But when my parents, for example, I have 2 brothers, like they buy us something or we go on vacation or something like that. It's okay, or not. I always tell my brothers, על חשבון משלם המיסים, I call it, okay? Or at the expense of the taxpayer. Let's go, okay? Okay. This is what it is.
Not all like that.
What? Not like that?
Not all of us are like that.
No.
The most of us.
Okay. No, I still respect their money.
No, look, I go once a year to
No. I tell him. משלם המיסים. Yeah. Even my parents.
I go once a year to Argentina when my friends want to buy me stuff. Okay, I say
Yeah.
I come once a year.
Yeah. It's for them. No, you travel for them. You visit them. It's not for you. So it's all about the framing. Okay. Okay. Self signaling. Okay. בעברית איתות עצמי. איתות. כן, לאותת. Okay. We said we are social creatures. We compare ourselves to others. We use others in order to understand how we should behave, but sometimes we ourselves and our previous actions also serve as strong anchors to who we are and what we believe in and what we care about. Okay, so this is self-signaling. Let's say I'm donating money, so I must be an altruistic person, and then when I need to, when they ask me to donate again or do something, do it again because I've already done it. Okay, I remember that this is something that I've done before, so now I'm going to do it again. Okay, I'm working late, so I'm a dedicated employee, and then when someone will need someone to replace him or her in a certain shift, okay, of course I'm a dedicated employee. I will be the one that's going to replace them.
I don't understand why that's a bias.
It's not necessarily a bias, but it's a behavioral principle. First, it can be a bias, okay? But it's more of a behavioral, psychological mechanism, a behavioral principle that in which we use ourselves again to signal ourselves how we should behave and what we care about, okay? But a bias, I have my life. Okay, why every time someone needs someone to replace them in work, it should be me. Okay, it doesn't have to be like that. But if I signal myself, I use myself as a reference point, as an anchor to my previous decisions, even if it doesn't work out for me, even if it's irrelevant, even if it's inconvenient at the moment, still I might do it. Okay, because this is who I am. Okay, so it's more of a psychological principle, but it can lead us to biases.
But maybe there is something more to it. If I tend to work late, probably it's part of a whole. There are more other aspects that I'm also a dedicated employee.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't actually.
So
I feel like maybe it is. It says something about you.
It might say something about me. Okay, there are always, or not always, most of the cases there are also other factors. Okay, but we are showing here all self-signaling and all these biases. There are behavioral principles that might explain certain behavior. It doesn't mean that it's 100% this. It doesn't mean that it's like only that clear cut, okay, חד ערכי, we can attribute it to self-signaling, but it's something that might explain our behavior and it can be true, okay? So it doesn't have to be a bias, it doesn't have to be something bad, but when we do it systematically and we use ourselves we change. We saw already, okay? We talked about time. People change their preferences over time. So maybe when I was 20, everyone in my in the army, okay, someone needed me to replace them in Shabbat. Yes, of course. But now when I'm 30, 40, now I'm different.
So the
But
thing
still,
you want to explain is like why you keep volunteering to take other people's shifts, not that why you're working late, correct?
it depends on the context. It can be in a certain situation why I'm working late, or why I'm donating more money, or why I'm replacing previous prior actions that I've done before serves as signals to who I am and what I care about and what I will do afterward. Okay, but again, sometimes it can be okay, but sometimes we change. Sometimes what happened a year ago doesn't fit now. Okay. Last one, and then we finish with this part, and you'll go on your break. Actually, change it for you. I have a different example, and then you gave the example of the AI subscription. Okay. Let's say you see this certain AI subscription for $180. The regular price is $240. Okay, but you're not sure, you want it, but now again this price is a bit high.
Discount?
Yeah, discount. Okay, special offer or whatever. Okay, but you say, okay, let's wait a bit. Still, it's a good offer, but I'm not sure I want to pay this amount right now.
Well, it's like the dollar one, the dollar now. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, usually it's 360 or something. Now it's like 3 and a bit. So like you say, okay, I can buy now, or maybe next week it will be even lower.
Great. Okay, maybe I wait a bit. Maybe now at the moment I don't have the balance or whatever. Maybe I'm waiting for the dollar to change even more. The next day you come and you say, okay, I want to buy this subscription. I thought about it. It would be helpful, but now it's $210.
No.
Would you buy it now?
Yes.
Okay, so the reference point works here. Okay, we talked about it already, but of course it works here because now the reference point changed. What?
It's 180, not 200.
Exactly. Okay, so we are no longer anchored to that. We are anchored to that. Okay, most people won't buy it. Okay, you can refer it to a lot of behavioral principles, like reference point and stuff like that. But this certain situation, okay, in action inertia. Okay, inertia של אי פעולה. What it means, by the way, Israeli researcher that worked, I don't know if she still works here, but she worked here in Reichman for many years, with Tikuchinsky. Okay, the tendency to reject a good opportunity simply because we missed a better opportunity. Okay, so this is still a good opportunity because we saved $30, but we had a better one. But now we are anchored to that one. Okay? The bigger the gap between the missed deal to the current deal, more likely that we won't make the action. Okay? Taking the current deal implies that we admit that we regret before, we didn't make the better decision. And we can think about real life application to that. What's important to emphasize here, let's say the price now was $300. Is it in action inertia? No, because now simply we don't have a good opportunity. We had a better one, but now it's not good. So it's reasonable, it's not a bias. Okay, it's reasonable not to pay $300 for something that worked yesterday $240. Okay, but the thing here is that we had a better opportunity. Now we still have a good opportunity. We have here a certain delta. We can make a gain, but we still don't take it because what we miss.
But if we don't take it, probably we don't really need it. So it's a good decision.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because sometimes every time that you want to buy something that you need, you buy it immediately.
Okay, so it depends. If I need it immediately, really need it, yes, I will buy it. And maybe afterwards, I change you can always cancel and
Not everything.
subscribe again later on.
No, but the dollar, if you bought, you bought. Can't change.
But I guess it also depends on how much you love it. I mean, like, vacation. Like, if you have money to spend $1,000 and then I see a vacation on sale and it's $800 and I'm like, okay, we push it down. And the day after it's $900. It's still less than I planned, but it's higher than I wanted to.
That's the issue here because now the reference point changed. Your previous reference point was 1,000.
And
Now
it's
it's 800. So 900 is still a good deal, but you won't take it because now you're anchored downwards and not upwards.
Yep.
It also relates to mental accounting. Let's say you close this vacation for 800. You're left with 200. Are you going to save this money? No. Always ice cream. Always depends and always, and these are the two certain answers. Oh, you want to say something?
No, I was just saying like this is just a case of reference point, but
Yeah, this is the way. Again, this kind of stuff can integrate.
yeah, the second is the reference point.
Okay.
I feel like if I saw that though, that I would say to myself, okay, this is for the company, they're looking to make a profit, right? So if they're not gonna sell me something at a loss for them. So for the company, it's clearly worth less than, what was it, $180?
Yeah.
So then when they jack up the price, then I'm not thinking to myself, okay, it's still a better deal than the 240. I'm feeling I'm still being ripped off even more than I was before.
It's like an Israeli mindset of
Yeah.
just like wanting to know.
Yeah, so maybe there are some cultural differences in that as well that play a role here. But yeah, you can always try and change it, but as common people, the big organizations, the odds are against us sometimes. Always go incognito if you're not sure. Okay, a booking, Skyscanner, whatever, incognito, and then decide what you want to decide, and when you want to buy it, then enter with your in-house. Okay, this is again a side note. Summarize that as well.
I will remember. I don't need to write.
Yeah, don't share it with others, exactly, because then when you book your flights to Argentina, suddenly you see all plans with better pricing. Okay, we can think about examples. Okay, let's say I could have bought a certain apartment for 2 million. Now, even if the market price is 2.7, I'm not going to pay 2.5. Okay, it's still a good decision comparing to that, but I'm not comparing to that. Okay, missing a certain sale, but then it's still on sale, but lower sale. Okay. Most likely I'm not going to wait for it. Okay, we'll end with the goat. Okay, let's see how Michael Jordan treats or treated time. Okay, the concept of time, but in sports, but of course you can apply it also to general life.
Most people struggle to be present. People go and sit in ashrams for 20 years in India, trying to be present. Do yoga, meditate, trying to get here now. Most people live in fear because we project the past into the future. Michael's a mystic. He was never anywhere else. His gift was not that he could jump high, run fast, shoot a basketball. His gift was that he was completely present. And that was the separator. Big downfall of a lot of players who are otherwise gifted is thinking about failure. Michael didn't allow what he couldn't control to get inside his head. He would say, why would I think about missing a shot I haven't taken yet?
Move away, MJ. Okay, goat mentality. 20 minutes break, and we come back 9:35 for our last topic. Okay, goat, greatest of all time. ראית את הסרט של ויגו עכשיו? אנחנו רואים את זה הגול? מה, ספורט?
כן, אז כל הרעיון זה כאילו לבנות משהו כמו היפ-האפ דיפנר שעכשיו יצא, אבל על כדורסל והגול. הגול זה באמת
נראה, אולי סוף סוף אחרי היום יהיה לי זמן לראות את הטלוויזיה, אחרי השיעור, אבל מעניין. אוקיי. יאללה. Final stretch of our class. Okay, and course. Last topic, introduction to behavioral change. Okay. Until now, we talked about more of the theory side, biases, models, stuff like that. You have a designated class for that, but I do want to show you a bit, at least from my part, I think it will help you enter smoothly or more smoothly to the applied part. Okay, so if you recall, one of the first slides that we showed was this. Okay, we said that basically we have current suboptimal behavior. We want to lead people to this desired behavior. For some reason they are here. As behavioral economists, we want to understand why they are stuck here, or why aren't they moving to here. Now, by now, I think you already know how to use some of the behavioral principles, models, biases, heuristics that we cover to try and explain this gap. For example, if I'm telling you a current suboptimal behavior is texting while driving, and we want to move people to here, drive safely without dealing with their phone. Which kind of behavioral principles or biases might affect them? Optimism bias, overconfidence, great. Okay? Unhealthy lifestyle, I'm eating bad, I'm not exercising, okay, using drugs, drinking alcohol, and we want to lead people to healthier lifestyle. What might be the explanation for that? Present bias, great. Planning policy, okay? So we are already able to connect this kind of situation to the biases. But as behavioral economists, it doesn't end here. We also want to understand how. How do we move people from here to here? And we have tools for that. Okay? Now, behavioral change, it's not something that exclusively belongs to behavioral economics. Okay? Not now. There are other disciplines that deal with behavioral change, and not back then. Okay, behavioral economics is not the domain that invented behavioral change. Okay, it's enough to look at this kind of 10 commandments and Taryag mitzvot. Okay, to already understand that even back then, the desired behavior or the regular, the normal, the optimal behavior wasn't something that people act as default. Okay, we have to have certain methods or mechanisms in order to lead people to the desired behavior. Okay, otherwise we wouldn't need this kind of commitments or stuff like that. Now, there are several ways to shape and influence human behavior. We will cover each. Okay, the famous nudges. Okay, the famous principle of nudges in our field, somewhere here. Okay, within the biasing techniques, we will go over all these four in the time that remains. Okay, first, mandates and bans, okay? חוקים ואיסורים. We might take it for granted, but it's also a method to control, monitor behavior, okay? In a normal society, people should know what is allowed, what is forbidden. They should know that if they are doing something forbidden, there will be punishment. Okay, and we have the law enforcement, the system of justice, okay? All these forces that are supposed to influence our behavior. What's the problem? What is the problem with mandates and bans? External, okay.
I would be caught. It's not something I might not get caught.
Okay, great.
We need
And on the
Research shows,
enforcement.
by the way, research show that mandates and bans are they influence, like the probability outcome of it influence more than the price itself. If I know that there is a higher percentage, a higher probability that I will get caught, even a fine of 20 shekels will be enough. Okay? We don't know if, for example, if I'm referring to COVID, they began with 100 shekels, 250, 500, 1000, whatever. If they would have come to behavioral economics, the domain, or individuals, they would have told them it's not about the money necessarily. Of course, if I'm paying 10 shekels for the mask, okay, for a fine, okay. But if I know that there's a high probability that when I go without a mask, I will get caught, it's equivalent for me if it's a 500 fine or 50 shekels fine in terms of how I will change my behavior. Okay?
Scooter drivers and Tel Aviv, it's not about the fine, it's about enforcement.
Exactly.
Not enforcement.
Exactly.
And
It's
if
not
there's no
about driving in
enforcement,
red light.
Exactly.
if there's no enforcement, then the ban has no effect.
Right? Another problem. Okay, so we can have the biggest fine, the biggest ban, but if they are not enforcing it,
I
does it
think we
matter?
know it, but it's easiest to put high
Money. Yeah.
You can, flood the highways with many police cameras. Cameras, it's easy. Policemen and the medot, but they don't do that because they don't have a budget. So
Yeah.
they like treat the numbers, okay, and get the money and say that we do a lot. Okay, we caught a lot of drivers, but so in average they like winning, but in practice they don't
Right.
change the behavior of the.
So and you raised another issue. Okay, it's costly.
Yeah.
Okay, now I need a budget for what? Every police officer in the corner to catch people with their scooter, to catch people with their mask, to catch people texting while driving. We don't have the manpower for that. It's very
You have the technology.
Well, they
but-
were an alternative. The reason that they put up like traffic lights and intersections. You need a certain number of deaths at that intersection in order to make it worthwhile for them to build a traffic light. That's the way it works.
Yes. Crazy. Sad.
Also, I think an issue of validity is that whether the punishment actually relates to what they do. So I think the most kitzoni example I remember, my friend who studied criminology said there are many studies that showing the death penalty does not impact a person's decision to kill, because if it's an impulse kill, they will not think about the punishment. They'll just, it's an impulse. And if they if they plan it, like if they have the motive, they must be like not scared of that, or they don't think they'll get caught, like what you said.
Yeah, we learn about it in penalty.
Really?
In penalty law, and that the enforcement is actually the thing that makes people like most, like the percentage of people that got caught for these offense, that's what makes people more so wondering. whether
More than
if they have a decision, like, and not like just were born in an environment that
And
makes
it's like
them.
random bias because you don't care about the future.
Yeah.
Very hard to think about the future.
you undervalue consequences of the future, but now I need the money to steal. Now I'm in a rush to get to a certain meeting or whatever, so I will drive like crazy. Okay, present bias.
Also, when something is not allowed,
Not only present bias, but also present bias.
check it out.
Yeah, okay, so psychologically we are attracted to things that are
Yeah, but not murder.
okay?
That's
Some might be. Some might be, but yeah. Yeah.
Can be external.
What's your back?
So external motivation can work until to a certain extent. Okay, and there's a lot of problems with external incentives and motivation. Sadly, I'm not teaching you the other class, but we'll be talking about that as well. Like differences between external incentives, internal incentives, and how you can use it with behavioral economics. Okay, so there are problems with that. We covered a few. Okay, let's say I'm facing this decision. I'm in my car. The speed limit is 50. Should I speed? I'm in a hurry. Okay, I want to get to a certain point. Okay. Ideally, what we would have liked is that for people to assess, is it dangerous? And I'm understanding that the speed limit protects me and the other people that are with me on the road. But when we introduce, not all the time, when we introduce mandates and bans, okay, rules, fines, the decision shifts. I'm no longer, or not always again, but most likely, I'm not thinking about, is it safe? Now I'm thinking, is it worth it? Okay? If I'm deciding not to speed, I have a certain fine with a probability of getting caught. Now I need to balance it with, if I'm speeding, the time that I'm about to save, and the probability of not getting caught. Now let's say the fine is 250, but now I'm going to close the deal for 1 million. Would I care about it? Okay, so the problem here, sorry?
It's like also a benchmark I can compete against.
Exactly, yeah, they are pricing it. Okay, they are pricing my time, they are pricing the fine, they are pricing the decision.
But if it's also
Yeah.
points and you're really close to getting your license, usually
Yeah.
work, so you will have more severe consequences. So it might.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it doesn't work at all, but it's a negative side of mandates and bans. Okay. Also, if I'm going to close a crazy deal, maybe I won't need my car. So give me whatever, how many points you want. Afterwards, my driver will take me. Okay, but of course it's an extreme example. But yeah, I'm not. We wouldn't want that nudges will control the rules, whether people are killing or not, or whether people are taxing while driving or not. Okay, it's supposed to be a certain kind of holistic approach. Sometimes bans are better, sometimes nudges are better, sometimes incentives are better. Okay, but the point is that we're already jumping ahead, but we need to understand the behavioral mechanism. We need to understand the cost effectiveness. We need to understand the alternatives. Then, when we implement behavioral insights, we can maximize the impact of also mandates and bans and other stuff that are not pure behavioral economics tools like nudges. Okay? So now I'm facing this decision. Is that worth more? Is that worth more? Okay, so this is one of the problems you already mentioned more, but this is one of the problems as well. It requires time, okay? קריאה ראשונה, קריאה שנייה, the only time that a certain law goes very fast and smoothly, when we want to screw the other side, okay, of the politic map. Okay, but regulation, okay, before elections, okay, so these things take a lot of time, and we want to make the change now. Look what's going on the road, okay?
Okay, the main of the.
We can think of a lot of stuff, okay? But now how many things that we can do in the road, like some rules or bans or sanctions or whatever that can increase the probability of people to go out onto the road and survive. Okay, but it takes time. It's also expensive. Okay, like mentioned. Okay, it's sometimes hard to enforce. Are you familiar with the broken theory, with the broken window theory? Okay. Basically, it says that if there are small signs of disorder, you need to treat it immediately, because if you won't, it will grow and be bigger crimes. Okay, don't look the other side on drug dealing or on I don't know, graffiti and stuff like that, because if you look the other side, then it will grow and be bigger and more severe crimes.
Like murders in the Arab section.
Like what?
אבל it starts even before.
אבל זה מתחיל בזה שגם כאילו...
Let's watch a video regarding the broken window theory, Giuliani, okay? Not the Arab Giuliani, okay? ראש העירייה, the mayor of New York, okay?
Well, I very much subscribe to the broken window theory. A theory that was developed by Professor Wilson and John 25 years ago, maybe. And the idea of it is you have to pay attention to small things. Otherwise, they get out of control and they become much worse. And that, in fact, you know, in a lot of our approach to crime and quality of life, social programs, we were allowing small things to get worse rather than dealing with them the earliest possible stage. So that approach has been tried in those cities, for all small cities. And there was a big debate about whether it would work in cities as large as New York. One of the ways that New York used to resist any kind of change was to say, it can't work here. Because we want to keep the status quo. And there's such a desire for people to do that, to keep the status quo. And I thought, well, there's no reason why it can't work in New York. We have bigger resources. When you have bigger problems, you have bigger resources. So in theory, it should work. So we start paying attention to the things that we're doing more. Aggressive hand, Fuji operators that would come to your car and watch the windows you whether you wanted it. Sometimes smash people's cars or tires or windows. The street-level drug dealing, the prostitution, the graffiti. All these different things we're going to pay attention to that. And it worked. I mean, it worked because we not only had big reductions in that and improving the quality of life, but massive reductions in homicide. New York City turned from the crime capital of America to the state that was in the country in 5, 6 years in a row.
Okay. The broken window theory, why broken window? Okay, because they refer these two psychologists, they refer to like a car. Okay, you see a car in the street, which someone broke the window. Okay, and it stayed there for another day, 2 days, a week. So suddenly kids are playing and they see with a ball, they see this car, everyone neglects it, so they kicking the ball and they breaking the mirror. Okay, and then it accumulates. Okay, so if you don't fix this broken window, okay, it will end up being something much bigger. This is like the term, this is where it comes from. What do you think about? Yes.
And I feel like it's also related to the status quo situations, like saying, okay, this is the situation. Some Arabs kill each other in Tehran. And so, well, it was always like that. Why would we treat that?
So we can get very deep in this discussion. Okay, we can think about a lot of
that
things.
example, but it could be like any other. Like
it can be status quo. It can be the priorities of the government. Let's say if this situation would have happened in Tel Aviv or Herzliya or Haifa, I don't think we would do it.
This situation
Yes,
used
no,
to
I
happen
think
in
for
Netanyahu, and they handled it and stopped it. They could do the same.
So they don't care enough. This is the sad reality. Right? If it would happen for the general society in Israel, we wouldn't see this enormous amount of homicide each year. Okay?
Because
we can also
I don't understand. This might affect also the general, and when it will, it would be very difficult to stop it and to handle it. If we handle it, you know.
Okay, so again, we can relate it to behavioral principle. It can be status quo bias. It can be the fact that these people that are engaging with this criminal activity, okay, they are not determined by the rules or the enforcement or the bans. Okay, so I'm not suggesting to nudge them and putting a big sign, don't kill. Okay, but there are different stuff you can do. Okay, but it does relate.
Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Even kind of act like as an opposite nudge, because if, like, I know it from my social work studies, but if we, like, if I go in the looking very bad neighborhood and I see the broken window, I might even like think, oh, doesn't seem like anyone cares, so I'll take my hand and take something from the car.
Yeah.
So
this
it
exactly.
makes me like, or do vandalism because no one cares.
Yeah.
So even though I wouldn't do anything criminal before, now I
Definitely. Okay, and then your reference point changes, and then diminishing sensitivity. I already broke this window, so I will take something. I already took a gun, the wallet. So, okay, so maybe now I'll go and shoplift. Okay, not everyone, but this is how it works. Now, have someone read Freakonomics?
Yeah.
Okay, they address this argument and with a counter argument. We won't get too deep with that. It's just like a nice anecdote. First, very highly recommended. Okay, Freakonomics. Read. They also have a book, of course, but they also have a podcast. Basically, what they say is that in the book they have an entire chapter of it that it's bullshit. Okay, this broken theory broken window theory in New York. They think that the more impactful factor that decreased crime was the legalization of abortion, okay, which led to fewer unwanted children to be born. These children are most likely be afterwards engaging with crime, okay, and then it also fits, okay, 90s, 1973, okay, unwanted children that were supposed to be 16, 15, 18, 20 in that time, basically were not there because of abortions. Okay, so they
to take one
That's- that's there, okay.
It's okay.
Also,
There are a lot
also
of
rich people that were not in like poor neighborhoods. It's not who are an abortion.
So again, I'm not saying that they are right. I'm not saying that the broken window theory is right. I'm presenting both aspects. Maybe it's a combination. Okay, each talks from their position. Okay, but anyway, the fact is that crime decreased. So it doesn't matter. Okay, in this case.
Yo,
Okay.
good morning. I hope that you enjoy the food. So now we know. So in order to go into the evaluation process, yes, you do. So this is the code number. It's on the board. It's 126.
I don't remember.
8372.
Can you remind us how to get to the
When you go to the apps, my university, then you have the blue apps, you know.
Yeah.
You go down, you see faculty evaluation, you push the button, and you get a list of courses. One of those courses will be this course. And you push the button and you have to fill up the code before you can enter the evaluation itself. Okay?
Now the default is 5 stars. You can use it and leave it as this. The status quo is very important.
This is the anchoring for us.
טכני, בדרך כלל כבר דרך ארוכה, אבל פה, כן. תוכנית תואר שני, כלכלה ופסיכולוגיה, תואר שני בכלכלה פרקטית. Sergey, we good?
I'm going.
אז מה לעשות?
Just click on the left menu again and it'll pop up. Like on the left side, it's an admissions office. Just click on it again.
שים את הטפסים האלו בעברית. למה סמך בעברית?
תוכל לבוא בעברית?
לא מספיק, פרקים אותי 20 דקות עם ההפסקה שלכם. 20 דקות תחשבו כפול 6, כן? זה עוד שעתיים שאני מפסיד כאילו בין מה שאני צריך ללמד. ברגע שזה יום...
כל 50 דקות בדרך כלל.
לא, אבל יום שישי, שזה 20 דקות, זה לא באמת 20 דקות.
גם המשמעים.
מה זה?
לא לוקחים את חשבון בהיקף של
טוב, לוקח בחשבון, תמיד ננסה לתכנן גם קצת יותר, שאם נספיק, וזה שלא נעמוד ככה, ואני אתן לכם כדור ללכת לשחק. אבל...
לא צריך כדור, אפשר גם שנת.
חלום שלי שנת. בסדר? כן.
מה עדיף לעשות קלאב בשישי?
לא, תגידי להיות איתו, אבל עכשיו הוא התחיל פתאום הרפרנס קוד, הוא גם כלכלן, 4 בבוקר, לא משנה מה קורה, אני עכשיו צהריים. טוב, יאללה, שכנו? יאללה, אוקיי, טוב, בואו נמשיך עם זה, בסדר? This was mandates and bans, economic incentives, okay? By definition, use positive or negative incentives to motivate, encourage people to a certain direction. It can be positive incentives, okay, bonuses or subsidies to recycling or clean energy, and we can also use it to de-incentivize people, okay, taxing cigarettes or soft drinks, okay, sweet drinks and stuff like that. Problems with that? Okay, great, costly.
Politically agenda.
Like you said before.
Political agenda.
Political agenda. Okay, so everything not always working. Okay, no, really, it's not like nudges is a magic solution. Okay, there are disadvantages and advantages in bans, in incentives, in nudges, in devices, okay? Using behavioral insights, we can improve or make the probability of a change more higher. Okay, but yeah, they are expensive. Okay, let's say I want to encourage 10,000 people to buy an electric car and give them a certain tax, okay, $5,000 tax credit. This is the budget I need. We're talking only about 10,000 people. Okay, of course, opportunity tax cost. Okay,
And still, you
allude-
don't do the infrastructure and stuff, so it's like a sunk
Exactly. Okay.
value.
Okay, every dollar that we are spending on incentive is another dollar we can spend on something else that might be at least as important as this initiative.
We save it like pollution, it also costs money. So you can, the trade-off is how much it costs to fight pollution.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so again, I'm not saying it's
No,
not
saying
good.
it needs to be balanced.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it often requires constant feeding. Okay, once you, let's say we want to incentivize people to recycle, and then we remove this bonus or incentive. Okay, probably will not everyone, okay, because maybe we were successful in creating a certain habit, but most likely a lot of people will stop recycling. Okay, and over time, if we refer to our material, diminishing sensitivity, reference point, now I'm incentivizing with 100 shekels. After a year, these 100 shekels are not enough anymore. Now I need to incentivize more. Okay?
Can you give us an example on Freakonomics about Ganim and Haifa?
Okay, and not always, they are not always effective. Okay, fines and economic incentives, both ways, also the positive and the negative side of it, and it can lead to unintended negative consequences. Are you familiar with that? Yeah. Daycare in Haifa, okay, 26 years ago. Two researchers, one Israeli, okay, Uri Genizi, they introduced a fine for late parents that they didn't come to pick their children on time.
Fantastic solution.
Fantastic solution. Yeah, yeah, but not behaviorally.
It's not really
Okay.
realistic.
What?
Not really realistic.
What?
Wait, what was
I'll show you the result. By the way, do you know the average cost? I read from the paper they wrote there. Okay. Do you know? I know because again I have a little kid, so I was interested usually in this kind of experiments when they introducing fines. So they say like the reference, like okay, a fine, okay, but how much does it cost to for your kids to be in a kindergarten? Okay, it's our own kindergarten, yeah. Okay, so I was just interested, so I went back to the paper. Back then, the average kindergarten payment was 1,400 shekels.
No way.
1,400 shekels.
1,400 שקל for
1,400
שקל לחודש? It's a private or public?
What?
It's public.
Private.
Private.
In Haifa.
What's the story?
About the return. So what they did here, they wanted to they contact Israeli daycares in Haifa, okay, and they wanted to see whether introducing a fine will make parents come pick their children on time. Because let's say they are finishing at 4:30, so sometimes they come 4:45, 5, and stuff like that. Okay, you're late, your child is waiting for you, someone needs to stay with him, with her. Okay, so they try to change his behavior using fines. Did it work?
No.
Okay, the control group, okay, there were 4 daycares without fines, 6 daycares with fines. Okay, so this is the control without fine, this is with the fine. They began with 4 weeks of baseline measurement, okay, no significant difference. Once they introduce the fine, the group with the fine, this is the number of late arrivals per week. Okay, increased, almost doubled.
Because now, because
And when they remove it,
one costs more.
they remove the fine, the behavior hasn't changed. Okay?
Wow.
Why did the fine have negative?
Now I'm paying for it.
Now I'm paying for it, alternative cost.
But I know,
What?
I know.
Okay.
And so you always hate that your kid stays late. So one of the incentive is not to be late, so he will not stay alone. Now that other parents are late, then he's not alone anymore. So you don't have any more guilty feelings.
Great.
So
Great, yeah.
so
It's also legitimate, like, to say, okay, it's not allowed to be late, it's just cost money.
Yeah, now they
So it's
point it.
allowed now.
Right?
It's not before.
They
Well,
make
no.
the Galanot babysitter, so this is really like, go.
It's like
Okay, yeah. What? Exactly. Okay, they remove the negative feeling, the inconvenient coming. Oh, I'm sorry that I'm late. Okay.
The negative feeling about every situation, because when you pay for something, sometimes you should feel good about it. Like I pay for a good attention, good attitude or something like that, and here you pay for something and also like people don't care about it, and you feel just bad about it to waste your money. It's just more painful to pay for.
Exactly. Okay, the reference point changes. Okay, no fine. Now there is a fine.
If I were already late and pay the fine, so I will stay another hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably gonna get a fine,
Parents
maybe
don't
5
money.
minutes later.
it wasn't about an hour. They talked about minutes. It was you couldn't
From-
leave them for another hour.
From 10 minutes,
Yes.
you begin paying.
And up to an hour, or
Okay.
up to half an hour. It's not. It wasn't
And if
something
it's
that
more
you
than an
could go
hour,
do
the
your
bill stays
errands.
for
It
the
was
next
limited.
day. No, I'm kidding.
It was
Okay.
a limited time, few minutes that you.
Okay, if we want to address it behaviorally, okay, all the reasons that you said are great. If we want to put it in behavioral terminology, okay, people operate in two markets, social market and an economic market. Okay, a social market is, oh, I'm sorry that I'm late, my bad, I was stuck in work, I am feeling bad. An economic market is, okay, you're getting paid for it. Okay, social market is I'm walking in the street and someone tells me, can you help me 10 minutes, I'm moving, I need you to help me with this sofa. Yes, sure, of course, I'm a good citizen. An economic market is, can you help me, I will pay you 100 shekels. For 100 shekels, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, F you. Okay, and I'm keep on and moving with my life. Once we moved from social market to the economic market, it's very difficult to go back. Okay, almost irreversible. And like you said, now the guilt, okay, the social cost was replaced by a certain price. Now the equation is different. If I need to pay a fine, but I have a meeting that might give me more money, okay, so I have the best babysitter in the world. Okay. Also, now, like you said, okay, parents can be comfortable knowing that someone is with their child.
The last one to go.
Yeah, and if you're talking about, you said in one of the classes, GameCube. Okay, if I'm getting this message from the kindergarten, I know that I'm not the only one. Okay, maybe I feel bad because I'm the only one that's leaving my kid late. But if it's such a massive problem, if it's a minor problem, they wouldn't go that way. If it's a massive problem, so I'm not the only one. Okay, diffusion of responsibility. I'm not different. Okay, social influence. Okay, economic influence.
Can you give another example where going from the social?
I have another example.
Okay.
In my work, we developed social services that the government then scales after we prove that it's successful. And half of our budget comes from fundraising. So when we have a program and we want to show potential donors, we oftentimes need to find a participant that's willing to talk about the program. And then what happens is that if we have a very, very successful participant that's very articulate and can talk about the program very easily, we go to the same person over and over and over again. And then we feel bad because we're using the same person's time. And so then sometimes we decide that we're going to pay this person for his time and effort. But then it creates a precedent where to have participants talk about programs that we're doing for them, now we also have to pay them to talk about the program. And it creates this very uncomfortable situation also because some participants get paid, some of them don't get paid, and then it just moves it to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great example. I also have a great example. You will understand why I don't have friends. But maybe if we'll have time afterwards. Okay. But you will understand that the problem is with them. Okay. Like this is the only place where the answer "it depends" is irrelevant. Okay. It's never my fault. Okay. So we talked about mandates and bans. We talked about economic incentives. Next one, debiasing. Okay. Debiasing refers to a wide range of techniques that are designed to reduce or eliminate. I don't like the word eliminate, but this is by definition because we hardly ever are able to completely eliminate a certain bias. We can reduce it, we can mitigate, we can minimize. Okay. But this is just me and my terminology. But by definition, this is debiasing, okay? And we are trying to leverage the knowledge that we have about human behavior in order to encourage people and lead them to a better decision, optimal decision. We can't do it if we don't have a solid understanding of behavioral principles, biases, models, heuristics, all these forces at play, okay? We need to have this knowledge in order to design a certain bias technique or behavioral intervention. There are two main approaches for debiasing. First, modifying the decision maker by education, training, suggesting some cognitive strategies, decision-making models, okay, working on the decision maker itself. The second approach is more famous and known in behavioral economics, modifying the environment, nudges. Okay? We will briefly show this, and then we will have our rest of our time on nudges. Okay, so we can educate and train people, okay, try to teach them how we can systematically avoid biases in a certain domain. Research shows that it's most effective when we deal with a particular issue, okay? Meaning that if I want to help you avoid behavioral biases in the financial domain for you to have better financial decisions, we can train for it. I can educate you with some behavioral biases that are specifically related to this, okay? It might work, but the knowledge rarely spills over. You won't be able, most likely, to take this knowledge and say, okay, now let's use this training to also make better healthcare decision or social judgment decision. Okay, it's a very specific domain. We can have some cognitive strategies, okay, dialectical bootstrapping, for example, okay, where they suggest that you should make an initial assumption, estimation, then another estimation, and then average both to get to a better decision. If you can use estimations from different people, even better. Okay, a certain technique, a certain strategy, which you can take and in order to make better decisions. We can also think about internal decision rules. Okay, don't go shopping while you're hungry. Don't make important decisions when you are tired. Don't go to sleep angry. Okay, all these kind of decision rules that you make for yourself, and you say, okay, this is the cognitive strategy that I'm going to follow, and it's supposed to lead to a behavioral change. Okay, through debiasing. And decision-making models. Okay, again, an example: decision trees. Okay, this goes more to the expected utility theory. Okay. Putting percentages, what will happen if I go here, here, we can do it. Okay, it's not something bad, we can do it. It takes time, it has, like everything, advantages and disadvantages, Okay, but we can think of some techniques here or models in which we can improve our decision making. Problems with that?
You need to do that for every specific bias, not something you can generalize.
Exactly. It's not
Invest every time from the beginning.
Great. Okay. So first, it's time consuming. Okay, it's a long process. Now look, we are meeting for the 6th time. Okay. Hopefully you are making better decisions, but you're not going. I'll give you a teaser. Okay, you're not going to walk out biased immune. I'm also not biased immune, even though I'm teaching this stuff. Okay, most likely I'm more aware of it, and if I'm able to recognize these biases, okay, so sometimes I improve my decision making, but I'm not immune. Okay, they are costly. Okay, it's not scalable. If we're talking about this training, we need a lecturer, we need a class, maybe. You need to sign up, you need to have some time to come to the meetings. Okay, you need to pay for it. And it has limited effectiveness. Okay, again, it doesn't spill over to other domains as well. Usually, or not, I wouldn't say usually, but a lot of times it doesn't really work at the moment of truth. You can learn, okay, I'm not going to sell this stock. I'm not going to sell this stock. Then I see 20%, 25% gain. I'm selling the stock because I want to take it, and maybe I will lose future gains. Okay, or the other way around. And as mentioned before in our class, usually spotting biases is easier for us when we look at others rather than internally. Okay? So that leads us to nudges. Okay? Policies and behavioral interventions that aimed at steering, moving, influencing, nudging people to supposedly a better direction. Okay? Better optimal. This is like the famous logo of it, okay, mother elephant that nudges, לא מהמילה nudge, כן? בעברית זה הנד. By the way, the one that coined it in Hebrew is Ariel Tikotsky, one of the practicum instructors, okay, in NL. Nudges was coined by Thaler and Stanstreet. Okay? These nudges are based on behavioral economics insights. Very important, they are liberty, preserving, and non-coercive. Okay, we can't force people. Forcing is methods and bends. Okay, in behavioral economics, we're not forcing. Okay, we are designing the options or the environment in a way that's supposed to lead people to a certain direction, but we are not forcing. It's not a law. Okay, relatively low cost and very high potentials. Now, why do we need nudges? Okay, taxing while driving is illegal. We have rules for that. We have mandates, we have punishment. Still in the US only, 3,500 people die annually due to distracted driving. Okay, tobacco, okay, smoking, cigarettes. In many countries, it's restricted by age and location. Still, 22,000 people each day die from the consequences of smoking and tobacco. Okay, so sometimes bans, mandates, taxes are just not enough. It doesn't mean that, again, nudges are always enough. Sometimes mandates and bans are better. Sometimes debiasing is better. Sometimes incentives are better. Okay, but we see that it's also not enough. Nudges, okay, Daniel Kahneman called it medium-sized gains by nano-sized investment. This is one of the things that made this domain so appealing. Okay, you don't need to have a lot of money, you don't need to have a lot of resources, you don't need to buy a lot of machines or cost and heavy things for your organization. Okay, you can implement small changes in order to lead to a bigger change. It might not be the biggest change, but it can be still very effective. Okay, again, referring to the example before, we don't want to build the entire road system, the transportation system, about nudges. I don't want that people will decide whether or not to pass in a red light based on nudges. We do need some laws, and we do need some rules, and we do need sanctions, okay? But still, nudges will be more cost effective, okay? They might not lead to the same result in terms of magnitude, but they are way more cost effective. They're also flexible, okay? You can change it. Let's say we made a certain rule, okay? Government passed it, a certain bill. Now we want to reverse it. It's not good. Now we need to reverse it, and now we need to justify public taxes and stuff like that. Nudges, okay, let's remove it. Let's do something else. Let's compare control group, intervention group. Let's try something new. Okay, very flexible.
When some traffic lights have the timer on it, is that enough?
Yeah, yeah.
For me, that really helps.
Yeah. It can also lead to downsides because now I'm heading towards I'm rushing, yeah, and I know 3, 2, 1, and in Israel 3 is 1, 2 is 0, 1 is -1, okay? But yeah, it isn't that.
Considering to cancel it.
Okay. Now the main aim of nudges is to make life better, at least socially. Like I said, maybe in the first class, once you have this information, that this knowledge, this understanding, you can do whatever you want with this knowledge. Okay. What about sludge? Sludge. So sludge is the opposite of nudge. Okay. Nudges are supposed to make life again simpler, safer, easier, reduce friction, reduce cognitive load. Sometimes you want to lead to a certain behavior and make it easier. Sometimes you want to discourage a certain behavior and make it more difficult. So Thaler and Sunstein call it sludge. Okay, we are trying to make it more difficult for people to not save in חיסכון לכל ילד. We're trying to make it more difficult for people to text while driving. Okay, you can use both ways. Unfortunately, again, I didn't have time to address this, but I hope that you will address it later in your program.
It's a way of
Sludge.
make things hard.
Yeah. So hopefully they are making things hard because the optimal outcome is not good for us. But hopefully. Okay, so nudges, their main aim is to make life better socially. Again, you can do whatever you want to do with this knowledge. You can take it and increase your sales, increase your attraction in the market or whatever, that's okay. But in general, nudges or behavioral economics are, it's a domain, it's a socially oriented domain, okay? Now, even though it's a socially oriented domain, okay, Uncle Ben said, okay, with great power there must come great responsibility. Okay, when we use nudges, basically what does it mean? We are steering people to a certain direction, maybe not the direction that is desired by me, the individual, but the direction that is desired by the government, the organization. So there's a question, okay? Isn't not a sort of paternalism, okay? Is it okay to use nudges? I should be able to decide for myself what I want to do. Maybe I don't want the environment to be designed in a way that will lead me to a certain decision. What do you think about that?
Responsibility is out today.
Responsibility is out, the environment is already designed like that. Okay.
Philosophical question that always rises about paternalism. We're here and there.
Okay. So behavioral economics doesn't leave it only to philosophy. Okay, so again, these are of course two considerations and valid considerations. Okay, what about the right to air? Okay, if I'm not making mistakes, how will I learn from that in the future? What about personal responsibility? If the environment is designed by the government, by my organization, by my university, by my municipality, so I did something wrong, it's not on me, it's on them. They designed the environment in such a way that led me to this certain decision. It also works like crutches, combined. Okay? When the system makes decision for me, sometimes down the road I will have to make my own decisions. And then it's like a muscle. Okay? When you don't practice it, it gets worse.
It's always a question of balance. Of course, if you design everything like in China, then you will have 0 personal choice. But you can design it in a way that some are your choice, but some are taking in consideration that you live in society.
Right, but who will decide which choices should be?
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough to balance, but
yeah, okay. So and it's also a slippery slope. Okay, exactly what you just mentioned. Let's say the government now, it's not a nudge, okay? There is a rule of paying pension, and then there's a חיסכון לכל ילד, okay? So they are nudging it in a certain way that you will invest, but then maybe they want also to look at poverty, families in poverty, how they manage their finance, and then maybe monitor their finance. Okay, so where is the line? Where is the line? Are they allowed to design my consumer choices, but not my financial, but not in a way that will hurt other people? If it hurts other people, but it's good for me, okay? There is a question here. You want to say something?
When the system, like some countries that offer a higher maternity encourage birth rates, is that enough?
I would say it's more like a rule by the organization.
Because it's something that only if you have a baby you can take it. It's a possibility. It's not
so it's not a nudge because that's it. Okay. I wouldn't say it's a nudge because you're not designing a way like in a certain way in order to make an optimal decision.
Help you. So people
I'm not sure that in this case people will decide making babies for the maternal leave.
Or for maternal leave. No,
Okay.
the lifetime responsibility.
No, but
Yeah.
some countries, okay, like some companies, let's say, they say, okay, also the father can take maternity leave. So the woman, let's say, take 3 months, the first one.
No, it's.
Oh,
No,
but it's
then
at the
and then the
expense.
father.
Yeah, it's at the expense.
It's
More benefits, it's more incentives.
Yes.
Okay, you can use behavioral insights to improve it. For example, I'm not incentivizing only the mother, I'm incentivizing the entire family. This is behavioral insight. But the maternity leave itself, it's not a nudge, it's more like benefit or a certain incentive. Okay? So, behavioral economics, מה? בשירותים? כן, תכף יש הדגה. Okay? So, behavioral economics try to minimize this soft paternalism with 2 main principles. First, maintaining freedom of choice. Okay? If Homer Simpson wants to eat this donut, I'm not forbidding him. I'm just designing the environment in such a way that he might prefer healthier food. Okay? So there is no rule. You can't force people in behavioral economics to do something. Okay? You maintain freedom of choice.
I think that the refreshments we have on Friday is a nudge for us to come on Friday.
It's just sludge for me for sure.
Nudge for you,
But I don't know, the entire system is supposed to be designed in a way that's not just nudge, okay? You have credit points, you have your responsibility. If you're not coming to class more than once, so you might result in failure in the class. Okay, so I think there are bigger things from that, unless you're very, very hungry, and then I recommend you talk with other personnel at the university. But it can be again another benefit, but a benefit that you paid for.
It's
Okay?
more like
So
a perk,
it's not like
not a-
nudge. Okay, it's not a nudge. They didn't design. They might design the environment of the refreshment break in a certain way for you to meet other programs, to meet the former program. Yeah, maybe they design it in such a way that leads to conversations, to like mingling. Yeah, but the food refreshment itself, it's not much.
The fact that you don't upload the presentation,
it's a sludge for you. Yeah. Okay, it comes from experience because I know that then you're more likely to deal with your computers, with the slide, and I think it's better that way when you are engaged. But yeah, definitely, great example.
The Minister by policy try to force people to move to public transportation, and it doesn't work. Again, because if you don't give a better alternative for private car, so people want to move into transportation only because you make their life harder.
So
in the private car.
So this,
It's like a debate, an inner debate, okay, whether to really try to force, and it's also by, I don't know, like Tiknei Chanaya, okay? So if you, when a new project, a building project is going on today, then even not one car per family is allowed, okay? So when you build new buildings, you must give less parking lots than the entire apartment. So it's like forcing by all means that you want to own a car.
So this is a major problem because when you want to do a certain behavioral change, you can't just automatically say, okay, no cars in Tel Aviv, no parking lots, so we're reducing 20% of the parking spots. Agod Godesh, all of this kind of stuff. You can do it, it's allowed, okay, but you need to provide an alternative. When there is no alternative, and it doesn't matter if it's a nudge, mandate, sanction, incentive, it doesn't matter. You need to provide alternatives, and there are not sufficient enough.
That's why
that's just a terrible policy, like prohibiting everything and not doing that.
Okay. Another principle, okay, maintaining freedom of choice. Another thing is that nudges should be transparent. Okay, we're not trying to, push stuff in the little, okay, the little letters. I don't know if you say it in English. Okay, but it should be transparent. And research shows that even if people are they know that they are being nudged, it still can work. Okay? Trust in institutions is highly correlated with approval of nudging. Okay, maybe not surprising. Okay, but in cultures or countries that we see high confidence in the government, in the institutions, they are also more likely to endorse this kind of nudges. Okay, we trust the system, we trust the government, we trust the organization, we trust the institute to design an environment in which that will lead us to better decisions. If we don't trust the government, the organization, the institution, obviously the story is different. Okay?
One of the main it can be counterproductive when you don't trust the institution. If you feel like you're being nudged, I would say you'll act the opposite. It's not just that the world will be like the opposite, you'll do the opposite.
Exactly. It won't only lead to not lead to a change, but even might worse the situation. Okay, which is, by the way, ironic. Okay, if they are implementing something that is optimal for me, it's ironic because then I'm punishing myself. But maybe they are designing an environment that is not good. Okay, the fact that a certain organization or country use nudges, okay, it doesn't mean that it's good for us.
I have a sports example if you want.
Always welcome.
Now with the Puerto Rico basketball club, they have a big thing with the fans, and the fans are not coming, so they're trying to push them to come. So they hand out free tickets, and the fans, the more they see free tickets, the less they come because they feel like it's a way to kind of get to them and try to push them back in. So they reach like the lowest average attendances of fans when the tickets are at the cheapest of all time, like free tickets are available.
Amazing. Yeah, because there's also, I can think about two effects, like a double effect. Okay, one, what are you disrespecting me? Okay, free tickets. I'm not believing in what the club is doing at the moment. Do you think that a free ticket will help? And then I'm not going to come for sure. And also, what about the other membership community in Hapoel Tel Aviv? They already paid for it, and now it's free. So now I'm also not going to come. Okay, so behavioral insights. You can use also behavioral insight. This, maybe not a nudge, okay, but it's a really bad
Incentive.
Management.
yeah, exactly. A really bad implementation of incentives.
It's like Zilut.
It's not a nudge to.
Yeah, trying to buy them.
Because you incentivize people, you give them free tickets, so
It's
it's a more
It's like a
more an
devaluation.
incentive, a bad way to incentivize
Evaluation of the
people
environment.
than a nudge, because they are not changing the environment in a way that's supposed to lead more fans to come. They explicitly come and say, okay, you're getting the for free, so it's an
So what should they have done? Increase the price, do something else, what they should have done?
No, is recorded. If they want, they can get my email and I will tell them what they should do.
Is policy supposed to be nudges, or it's supposed to be simpler and smaller, like tax benefits? It's like it's a policy, and like as we say, it's an incentive, but it can also count as a nudge, or it's too big and too
No, it can, nudges can be big. Okay, usually they are more like subtle and
like tax benefit, like as we said before, it's not simple to implement.
no, it's an incentive.
And
It's not.
incentive,
Yeah,
but it can also
the way maybe you design the form of the tax refund in a way that will be easier for you to fill the tax report, then this might be required, be considered as a nudge. Okay, so under the huge umbrella of policies, you can use mandates, bans, incentives, negative incentives, de-biasing techniques, training, nudges. Okay, this is the entire umbrella. But not everything that we do in order to change behavior is a nudge. Okay. Okay, so one of the main concepts of behavioral change is in behavioral economics, okay, choice architecture, okay. Basically, it means that we are trying to modify the environment in a way that will lead people to optimal outcomes, okay. We are changing the way that options are presented, we are changing the colors, we are changing the wording, we're using the environment characteristics in order to make decisions more easy, okay, easier, simpler, optimal, okay, frictionless.
What's the difference between incentive and?
Okay, so an incentive is an economic tool.
Not always economic.
What?
Always economic?
Incentive? It can be either money or worth money, a voucher, buy me from your company. Is it economic? Not money, cash. Okay, but it's worth money.
Free time, you also consider it.
What?
Like time. Free time, you also consider it.
Free time, yes. It's not a nudge. It's not a nudge. It's a certain incentive, certain benefit. Okay? They are not changing the environment. They are not changing a contract or changing the benefit that you're getting. It's not a nudge. Nudge is more about choice architecture. Changing the environment, okay? Implementing behavioral insights in the environment.
Home office. Home office. Is that a change in the environment? Let's say a company that used to work 5 days from the office, and now they say, okay, everyone gets 1 day of home office, and whenever you feel like it, you can ask your manager and get an extra day.
So it lies somewhere
What do you
between
want them to
incentive
do?
and
Like,
nudges.
what's the-
Okay, somewhere in between. It's not always that clear cut, but more often than not, it is. You can differentiate between incentives and nudges. And again, I wish I had more time with you and delving into this material, but I hope that you will cover these differences in the following course. But like rule of thumb, nudges is about changing the environment, okay, implementing behavioral insights to the environment in order to lead to better decisions. All the other, okay, if we're taking, for example, the incentives, it's more about like the benefit structure, the monetary structure. It doesn't have to be really pure money, okay, but it at least work money, vouchers, time, day offs, better pension, or stuff like that. Okay, it's not a nudge, it's more of the incentive system.
I just want to make sure I understand. So the nudge is more like to make sure that the people or encourage people to choose the policy away from.
Yeah.
Like tax benefit is the incentives, but the nudge is the system that helps them to choose that, or the
Get to this part.
or to the office. It's if you come to work from the office, then you get like all kinds of yogurts. I don't know. So then.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the idea is, someone said it before. Okay. There's no such thing as neutral settings. Okay. The way we present stuff, the way we talk, in colors, in wording, the way we position stuff. Okay, if I would position this box of bottles here, okay, would you drink as much as you're drinking? No, it's also a certain nudge. Okay, it doesn't have to be something that you'll fall from your chair.
It's like the gift.
Okay?
You must go through it.
Exactly,
Give,
perfect nudge, perfect nudge. Okay, the Americans, they're the best in that. Okay, you finish your whatever you went to museum, Disney, I don't know, and then through the exit you go by the gift shop, and all the attractive stuff are in the level, the eye level of the children. Okay, you won't see a very nice doll or whatever souvenir up there. Okay.
And also in the supermarket, when you are
Also in
waiting
the supermarket.
lines.
Yeah. Okay, so a choice architect is anyone that designs, organizes the context in order for us to make decisions. Bless you. And to again give you another closure or a better understanding of it, okay, how these terms relate. A nudge is a specific intervention. As a choice architect, I have some tools to encourage behavioral change. One of the tools is a nudge, okay? But I can also implement behavioral insights in incentives. I can also implement behavioral insights in debiasing or mandates or stuff like that, okay? So a nudge is a tool that we have as a choice architect. Let's see some examples, okay? Maybe it will be better that way. During COVID, okay, social distancing, personal space maintenance, behavioral economics had a lot of solutions for that. Don't know if you see it, but here in this park, okay, circles, in order to prevent people to be too crowded. Okay, here you can see it, public restrooms, these spots in the stores. Okay, so they designed the environment in a way that leads to a better optimal decision. That's a nudge. That's a nudge. You're not incentivized to walk to be here. Okay, it's not banned. You're not going to get fined if you're here, but they change the environment in such a way that helps you to get to a better decision. Okay. Everyone that visits in the men's restroom knows that it might be the most disgusting place in the world. Okay, so they have also solutions for that. Okay, this kind of gamifications. Okay, we might be discussing, but we are very goal oriented. Okay, so this is in Sami Ofer in Haifa. Okay, football stadium. Here there's a fly here. Okay, also for children. Okay, sometimes we don't see these viruses and bacteria, so making it visible like that can also be a nudge. Okay, thinking, okay, I didn't wash my hands, and then I come to open the door, and when I see this, okay, I might think twice. I have a great story on that as well, but unfortunately I don't have the time, so maybe I'll see. Okay, Tali, this is for you. Okay, protecting public health and the environment. Who is the best player in the world, Ronaldo or Messi? And then you need to choose. By choosing, you're keeping the environment cleaner. Okay, these are more morbid examples. Okay, putting the ashtray like this, lunch, yeah, and this nice designated place.
So the picture that they have on the smoking packages right now with the very disgusting lungs and teeth and.
Yeah, it's also on. Okay, I have a complete topic on that, but again,
Also,
another, yeah, they researched and they found, oh, this is the most disgusting color. Okay, this is what they put in on the package.
But it didn't work. Not on me.
Yeah. Maybe the things that we'll discuss here will work. Okay, this is something. Okay, this 3D crosswalks, trying to reduce vehicle speeds in urban areas. It was first implemented in one of the Scandinavians. Okay, which are very good in this stuff, economics. This is here, Ashdod. After 24, 48 hours, they erased it. Why?
Stop the car immediately.
So the first one, they failed to adjust culturally. Okay, so the first car noticed it and stopped. But in Israel, we don't like to keep distance. Okay,
so
the one before didn't see it. The one after didn't see it. Okay.
We are special. You are unique.
You can also nudge yourself and you want to work out in the morning, so you
Great example. Yeah. Okay, if I don't want to find myself eating cookies at night, so I'm not buying it. Okay, so we can
preparing something else.
Yeah, I'm changing the environment. Okay, all these kind of methods of in AliExpress, you have this box, you can put your phone and it's locked for 2 hours. Then the minute you put your phone, somebody calls and it's the most important call ever. Okay, but you can do nothing. Okay, but you can also nudge yourself. Okay? אני לא צריך את זה, אני שם את הטלפון בצד ומתנתק, באמת, ברמה כאילו חמורה לפעמים. So, okay, gamification, okay, encouraging staircase use. Okay, imagine kids going out for a break and then they begin running and that, okay? This, of course, is an optical illusion. Okay, the moment you see it, stop.
But if you're there every day, you get used to it.
But still, maybe your first system one, when you just see it, okay? Afterwards, maybe, but still. Okay, trying to design this staircase keyboards, okay, and not using the escalator. This is one of my favorites, okay, a certain bicycle company that got complaints from their customers that the bicycle come broken, okay, so they thought, okay, what we can do, because the movers or the delivery workers, they see it, say, okay, let's follow it, it will be okay. Okay, so they designed the box, they printed this TV and designed it in a way that reduced these incidents. Okay, now we're heading towards the final stretch. Let's see. Okay, 15 minutes. We might still, go do. Tell you in advance, and unfortunately, I think I won't be able to cover this time. Okay, but in general, as behavioral economists, we have this toolbox of a lot of nudges. Okay, simplification, defaults, reminders. Okay, it's a short list. We already discussed simplification, if you recall, talking about paradox of choice. Also, devising mandates and bans incentives, they are not pure nudges, they are not nudges, but we can implement behavioral insights in order to improve people's decision. Okay, so it's also a tool that we have as behavioral economists. I will review social proof. Trust me, for me it was the most difficult class to design because I have a lot of ideas and material on the applied side. Okay, from my experience and from dealing with the field, but I also have to respect, and I think it's important to respect other teachers as well. So I'm only restricting myself to social proof because it's also a behavioral principle, so it can relate more to theory. And hopefully we will discuss all these later in the program. Okay, so social proof, בעברית הוכחה חברתית, we use others to understand how we should behave. Okay? Individual look at others' behavior to determine the correct way in a given situation, especially when we're talking about uncertain settings. It has two pillars, okay? Telling us what is socially approved or what should be done, or descriptive norms, okay, how people really behave. Someone was in my place, in my shoes, how they behave, and this is how I will behave most likely as well. Okay, so either telling us using the math to tell us how we should behave or how people behave when they were in our position before. Okay, so examples can be most of your neighbors recycle, 9 out of 10 students attend every class, the overwhelming majority of people in your community abide by the law. Okay, so they're signaling what most people are doing because we are social creatures. We want to be like other people. Sometimes we're coming to a new place with a lot of uncertainty. Okay, so sometimes it's also useful. It's not necessarily a negative thing, but using this understanding that people are social creatures, people look at others to make their decisions, we can implement this social proof principle to lead them to the optimal outcome, or at least what we want them to do. Social proof is most effective when it is localized and specific. If I tell you, look, in class, students that come and study or back in history, in all our programs, if you learn very good in class and you come and you participate, it increases the chances for you to succeed in the exam. Or let's say I'm telling you, in Israel, in general, people, when they study, okay, students, when they study, it increases their results. What will work better?
Close.
Exactly. Okay, we are more influenced by neighbors, peers, and stuff like that.
Like with the example with the no.
Yeah. I didn't want to use this example. It's a very famous one. Okay, you'll cover it most likely in a different class.
I feel like sometimes if we read in a magazine like persona that you identify with it, like women that work in their 25 to 35 years old, it's also like somehow closer.
Yeah, it's a certain way of social proof. Yeah, but it's not necessarily using the mass. It's using maybe a role model, maybe someone that is like celebrities. It's also a certain way of using like the fact that we are social creatures, but it's not necessarily a classic example of social proof. Okay, but still it's also a very good nudge. Okay, if you want to advertise using celebrities or using people that you feel more related to, and you say, okay, Kim Kardashian uses this and that, okay, so obviously it affects more than if you just see, I don't know, random person on Instagram and you say, okay, if she does it, I will do it as well.
No, I just wanted to say hi. Okay, I'm sorry for interrupting. I thought the class, I didn't realize I'm gonna disturb in the middle. This is my phone number. Just wanted to say hi. If anyone needs me, you know where to find me now, okay? And I know I haven't responded to some emails. I know you are concerned about the thesis. We'll talk about it. We still have time, so don't worry. We'll update you on everything in the coming week or so. Okay, so just wanted to say good luck in the exams and all the final assignments, and say hi since I'm already here in class. The other cohort is finishing today. They're graduating, so I'm here to celebrate with them, as I will with you next year. But see you later. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, other examples, okay? Bestseller, all these bestsellers, the bestseller book, the bestseller movie, the bestseller hotel in Booking, Skyscanner, okay? It's also implementation of social proof. Take your little home, other people do. It doesn't have to be with a numerical value, okay? It can also 90% of light rail, okay? People that customers pay for their light rail travel, okay? Using what the mass do, okay? And of course, the greatest example, billions of billions cells, okay? They don't need it already. It's enough to see the golden arches.
They don't need it.
It's just the golden arches and it's enough, okay? Other kind of examples, okay? I will speed it a bit, okay? Because I do want to close some.
Also like the broken window. There's a garden with a dog poop, so I won't pick up.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, some other examples, you have it, but what happens if the majority is behaving poorly?
It will encourage us.
Now, how we can use social proof in this case?
Don't be like everyone
Either
else.
don't, okay, either don't, but usually what we do, we can do, don't be like everyone else, but I'll show you why it's not that good in a moment, okay? Usually what we should do is focus on what the majority thinks, okay? If not 90% of citizens paying tax, we can emphasize that they believe that they should, okay? 90% of all people agree that taxing while driving is dangerous, okay? Shifting from what people do to what people think, okay? It's a technique, it doesn't, okay?
Like, okay, if you're writing, thinking or want to or believe, they probably don't really do it.
So you would be surprised how many people don't do this distinction between they wrote believe. So it's not how they really behave. They wrote think. Okay, so once it's in your system.
Like they do it, most of the people will.
Yeah, like the sleeper effect. You know the sleeper effect? You get an information, a certain information, and let's say you read it on a certain post on Instagram, so it's bullshit. But 2-3 months later, you don't remember that you read it from there. And then somebody talks to you and you said, oh, you know, I read about this article, okay? So,
You're special. Oh, yes, okay.
What?
You're special. You're the one.
Yeah, there's also the other side of it, okay? We want to be social, we are social creatures, we want to be like others, but we are also want to be unique, okay? So you need to understand which kind of, let's say if I'm selling you diamonds, I won't tell you, look, everybody bought it, you should buy it also. I'll tell you, oh, yes, I have this one, it's only for you, it just arrived today, okay? So you need to know when to implement which kind of behavior.
On the other hand, the whole creation of the concept of an engagement diamond, now it's sort of a social proof in that, like, you can't get engaged without buying a diamond because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah, okay, so sometimes it also changes that. Okay, so we can think of why social proof works, okay? All these examples, we can have more reasons as well. Okay, diffusion of responsibility, informational influence, conformity. Okay, we want to be like others. We don't want to be outliers in certain cases. In certain cases, we want to be outliers. Okay. Now, this really is the final stretch. Okay, so bear with me because I'm using this example to also close the entire topic of behavior change. Okay, so I'm using social proof, but it's not only in social proof. Sometimes these things, nudges, okay, can backfire. For example, social proof, we said it's not a magic solution, okay? For example, in social proof, if I'm not credible, okay, and I say, 95% of people are not texting while driving. Okay, so I'm losing my credibility. People won't believe this message, and then I did nothing. It will even be worse. Okay,
but you can say more and more people stop texting while driving.
Yeah,
right?
more and more, or maybe use a numerical number. Okay, I have some ways. Again, more people think that they should. We have ways to overcome it, but if I'm not, am I using a certain?
A lie. I cannot lie.
Exactly. Okay, because these people will notice.
Don't
Okay.
lie.
Okay, and sometimes there are also bad implementations of nudges. Okay, in this case, again, social proof, Wikipedia. Okay, they wrote to their readers, to all our readers in the UK. Please don't scroll past this Wednesday. Okay, 98% of our readers don't donate because it's they are based on donations. 98. Okay, they chose the Polish approach. Okay, 98% of the readers don't give, and we are sitting in the dark. Okay, and you should eat your food.
Yes, it has no taste.
Yeah, and no salt, but eat it anyway. Okay, so 98% of the readers don't give. Now I read it, and what do I think?
Why should I do? Why should I?
Should I be the 2% of suckers that donate? I'm reading it now for free. Okay, exactly. Okay, so this is a very bad implementation. The fact that we know about social proof doesn't mean we can copy paste it and it will work. We need to understand the behavior. Okay, this is a real.
They also put the £2. So it means like it's you know that it's so cheap and so easy to give. So they balance no one is doing it by giving you some kind of an anchoring that is very, very cheap. That you say, okay, only £2, it's nothing for me.
No, my anchoring is different. My anchoring is £2. Wow, 98% of people are not even willing to give.
Yeah, and maybe just okay. This was for me now spending some time putting my credit cards for £2. Good luck. Okay, this is a real case. Okay, it's a commercial that I saw a few years ago. Set at home, suddenly saw this commercial from the Israeli Center for Addictions. The name doesn't sound good, but they are not for addictions, they are trying to prevent, but still זה המרכז הישראלי להתמכרויות, okay? They said here 90% of those struggling with addiction do not seek help. Immediately the same evening I sent them a message, an email. I told them, look, guys, but just be aware. מה?
כאילו יש פה גם היבט עיקולי, שזה בא לנרמל למכורים את זה שהם לא חריגים בזה שהם לא מבקשים עזרה.
זה לא טוב.
זה לא טוב.
זה לא רק לא טוב, זה מה שאני אומרת, יש לזה משמעות עיקולית עבור, כאילו.
כן, אבל זה לא טוב.
אני מקווה שאני דם על הידיים, אבל בכל okay, I told them, look, this is a very bad implementation, of course, nicely, politely, whatever. It's a very bad implementation of social proof, because as an addict, I come and I see, I watch this and I say, okay.
I don't.
I'm 90%.
Most of the people that in my situation, they behave like they don't understand. No, it's just
if they say, but the 10% that comes, they see.
No, don't give them discounts. Okay, it wasn't that good. Okay, Ma? We met first. They removed it. We met I met them with a guy and we gave them some consultancy pro bono.
What the new commercial they did?
I can't remember. But they didn't pay, so I spread the word, and this is it for me. Okay?
A very nice promotion for post-traumatic disorder soldiers that says real soldiers seek for help.
Mm-hmm.
So they just emphasize that you are not weak if you have this. So real soldiers seek for help, and
So So this
Very powerful.
builds on more behavioral insights, and yeah, it's more powerful than that. Okay, so the problem with behavioral economics is that at an early stage, people didn't understand what it is. Is it psychology, economics, both, neither? Okay, and then people like Kahneman, Thaler, really, okay, they came and they made it more accessible. Okay, הנגישו את התחום. Okay, more popular, more accessible. But then it created another problem. People think that they can read a Dan Ariely book or watch a certain TED talk, and now we are experts. Let's go do copy paste, okay, or do this, get that. But I'm not a programmer. I can't watch a TED talk and say, now I'm a programmer. Okay? The way I see it at least, there's a difference between knowledge and understanding. If you know this concept, okay, you can talk about it. Maybe you have a very good knowledge. I'm not disrespecting, but you need to actually understand the behavioral principles. You need to understand the behavioral forces at play in order to implement it successfully. Okay? And the tricky part is that behavior change is difficult because we have cultural differences, like we saw in the crosswalk example, different contexts. People don't do what they say. The intention action gap. Okay, and not only you and me, also the biggest names. Okay, not only among average Joes. Let's think for a second. Joe Biden here. Okay, he said, I'm not going to pardon my son, I'm not going to pardon my son, I'm not going to pardon my son before we left office. Okay, so people don't say, this is why behavior change, one of the reasons why behavior change is so complex. Okay, I will show you this, then I will skip it a bit. Okay, the way, again, I see it, we need to treat this whole domain with modesty. Okay, in everything in life, but okay, we're talking about behavioral economics. Sometimes the field is so sexy with all these interventions and cool stuff. You come to a certain organization, they think, oh, we're going to increase sales by 50 or turn the behavior the other way around. Usually it's not that, it doesn't work like that. Okay, we need to be modest. It's a research-based process, not a magic bullet. Okay, even the forefathers of the field acknowledge that with this quotes here. I'm not saying that it's not effective, otherwise wouldn't stand here. Okay, believe in the influence of the field, believe in the influence of what you can do with this knowledge, with this understanding, but be modest about it. Okay, these are all merits of good behavioral economics, so I recommend you also read it afterwards. But to conclude, and then one more minute about the exam. Okay, sorry about the time. Okay, who is after me? On?
Statistica.
Okay, so my bad, I will apologize, I will send him a mail. Okay, so behavioral change is very important, but it's very complicated endeavor. Okay, many factors can influence our behavior, our decision making. Not again a magic proof, it's a magic solution, but it doesn't mean the complexity of changing behavior doesn't mean that we need to think about like reinventing the wheel. Okay, sometimes the most influential designs or the most influential interventions are those who are very simple. Okay, but still, in order to be able to do this, suggest these simple interventions, you need to have a profound, deep understanding of behavioral economics, of the models, of heuristics, of biases, of these principles. Okay? Real case study, unfortunately, we won't have time for that, but I had a project with Guy in Chaparral, working with the public transportation ministry to reduce sexual harassment in public transportation using insights from behavioral economics. So maybe, I don't know, sometime in the future. Okay, the exam, you already saw the structure, you know it. Okay, look, it's not going to be a piece of cake. Okay, the exam, I'm not going to kill you. Okay, it's already there. I already sent it to the university. But you have there, first you have choice. Okay, You don't have to answer everything, you already have the structure again, okay? But there are some questions that are simple, okay? Like for you, slam dunk, okay, supposedly. There are some intermediate stuff, okay? And there are some challenging questions. You need to have deep understanding in order to answer. But it's not a very complex exam, but it should reflect deep understanding of the material. If you'll go over the presentations, you'll go over the recordings, you've been here in class, you have, and you will practice, okay? You have no reason to be anxious about it. I'll be with you, okay? Usually they divide you to 2 or 3 classes, okay? So me and my TA, which is also me, we'll go by over like from class to class, okay? So I'll be with you the entire time if you have questions.
How long is the exam?
3 hours. 3 hours, I don't think, again, I don't think you'll need all the time, but if you have, it's also okay. As a student, I was always the last one to leave, so, but again, if you study, it should be okay.
Do you have a sample question?
Yeah, I'm uploading, I will upload today sample questions. At the end, I even increased it, okay? I wrote 5 multiple choice, 15 true or false, and another open question.
With solution.
Besides of the open questions, yes, okay, with solutions. Okay, so one final thing, okay, sorry for delaying, again, I will apologize to Yvonne. Okay, I won't apologize, okay, but it's on you because you didn't remember it's the 6th time you're meeting him and you don't remember it.
No, I know.
Okay, but no, seriously, I enjoyed the time with you, okay? I think that from my experience, at least with the students that I've been teaching during these few years, I really enjoyed, and I think you're a very strong class. I enjoyed the discussions, your insights. I hope you also enjoyed as well. And we'll meet again next week, and I will meet some of you in the thesis track later on. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the program and have good luck.
Thank you.